Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Oops. All right. Welcome, everybody, to The Prize Inside. Hopefully, everything looks good. Okay, sweet. It's a little. I got a whole routine on like Sunday nights. So if you have never visited and this is your first time, welcome. My new Facebook little area, Myers Chiropractic West over in the old Galesburg. We figured out how to put it all on there. So make sure you're commenting any kind of situation, any questions, all those things. Tonight's kind of about that, kind of diving into each week. There's always new information out there in the health and wellness. Tonight, we're going to go through a few of those. So we'll see a little recap of last week. We got a little more information to help us discern some things. So as we go, it will be very fantastic. So tonight is always about, our first thing is we talk about the chiropractic principle of life. So we call it above, down, inside out. We call it the body needs no help, just no interference, right? So whatever your body, this innate intelligence within you is what heals you overall. And so what we like to do is go through I'm going through the 33 chiropractic principles of life and health first. So they're very simple, very to the point. I wanted to get them all. I haven't got them all on a podcast yet. So we're on, tonight is principle number 6. So what I'm going to do is walk you through, give you a little synopsis of each principle that we've gone through. And then we'll talk about principle 6. It's a really quick one. And then we'll just keep going into all those different principles. We do that for a little bit, and then we start talking about cool health topics that are kind of trendy this week. But if there's especially if there's a health topic that I have not hit on this week, or you've seen something you got a question on, put it in the chat. Like, go ahead, wherever you're watching it. I think I can catch all the comments, as we go. So let's start. So this week is principle number 6. Principle number 6 in the chiropractic world. So let me go through the 5 before this. So there's 33 of these principles. They were done by, his name is Stevenson is his last name, back in like 100 plus years ago. And these are really, really good synopsises of like what chiropractic's all about. So it's called so principle 1 is called the major premise. And this is that the world has there is a universal intelligence in all matter and everything on the planet. So we believe that there is and we know that there's an organization to the world we live in. So a good way to think of universal intelligence is gravity, right? So gravity helps pull things to the earth, and that's an intelligent action. It has an energy to it, those kind of things. So, and I'm not going to go into all of these, because if you go back to the other whole health weeklies that we've had, you can listen to each one kind of in more detail. The next principle is chiropractic principle number 2, called the chiropractic meaning of life. This is the expression of that intelligence through matter is the chiropractic meaning of life, meaning that all of the cells of anything living, possibly anything not living, but that's another story. But anything living has an intelligence through it, and the way our body the cells and the trees and everything expresses it is the meaning of life. So not only are we talking humans, we're talking animals, we're talking plants. We have this intelligence within each cell. And so that's where we come from in our understanding of the human body. It's the union, so the intelligence and the matter combined that create the life. Okay. So it's this union of intelligence and matter that create that's principle number 3. So it's called the union of intelligence and matter. So this is kind of like in the old world speak. So hopefully this will make a lot of sense to you. The triune of life is principle number 4. So the triune of life means 3, right? Life is 3 things, and it has to have all these necessary factors: intelligence, which is what your body's made of, the matter, and the energy within. So the intelligence and matter get together, and the only way that life is expressed is through this energy. Okay, so intelligence, force, matter. So now we're on to principle 5, which will start making more sense. To have 100% life, so think of 100% health, there must be 100% intelligence, 100% energy or force, and 100% matter. So what that means is it's our job to make sure that our matter is as good as we possibly can get it to give us the best chance at 100%, and our intelligence to give us this 100% energy that we can do. Now, here's the principle number 6. Very simple. So that's why I took a little time on the other ones. Principle number 6 is the principle of time. There is no process that does not require time. Okay, so that's kind of a simple. That's it. That's the whole quote. So, principle of time, there is no process that does not require time. Why is that said? So, a lot of times it's said because healing, health, all of those things matter, but it takes and it requires time. That's why it's one of the neatest things in my chiropractic world is to watch somebody have some kind of major thing happen, right? Injury, surgery, those kind of things. If they approach it correctly and they use their body and they get their intelligence around that injury better and better, they keep focusing on making sure that the intelligence and the matter and you're doing everything, you're eating right, you're thinking right, you're moving right. You start doing all those things, you can see massive changes. But one of the things that happens is it's over time. So it's over a longer period of time than what we're kind of programmed to believe it should take, right? So a lot of times that's one of the biggest misnomers of, I would say, like our healthcare in general. We don't give time. I'll give you an example of this. One of the books I read, I love this book. It was really, really good. It's called The Brain That Changes Itself. And it was about a neurologist that kind of learned a really good process for Parkinson's and stroke. As we're going, and the crazy part is they called him nuts. And the reason they called him nuts is because he was taking a lot of time with these people that had Parkinson's or stroke. And when he would do, literally, it was 6 hours a day. He would do training of the brain like 5 days a week for 4 or 5 months. And so a lot of times in the medical world, that's ludicrous. That's not going to get them anywhere. That's too much, care kind of thing. Well, he was reversing Parkinson's and stroke situations by leaps and bounds. Now, flash forward to today, that book was written a few years ago. One of the craziest parts is like we're seeing that more and more, that people are going into that type of therapy. One of my friends that I know really well, she started a Parkinson's boxing training. And that boxing training is really, really helping a lot of people because it's constant movement of those Parkinson's things. And then the constant tremor, by be able to focus your brain on something different and kind of retraining the intelligence of the body is helping that person get over that. So I thought that was always interesting. It's one of those things that you can really, really get into. And yeah, so like just remember the principle of time. There's no process, none, not healing. There's no drug. Okay. There's no drug that's going to speed up your healing, right? Every process via the intelligence and the matter of the body requires time, and you must take it, but you must do the right things on the way. Okay. So there is principle 6. All right. So what I like to do tonight, it's kind of like we just kind of hang around. And last week got real interesting because I found a few great articles. Every week we're gonna have a few. So this week I want to go back a little bit because we found an article because one of the trending topics is GLP-1. So GLP-1 is a hormone that tells your brain and your body and all kinds of things. It's a digestive process hormone that is released into the body. Now, there's a big trend currently that we are basically mimicking the GLP-1 hormone into our body chemically. The GLP-1 hormone tells your body that you're full, or it stops, those kind of things. Let me look it up and I'll give you a better example. All right. I'll give you a better description of me just blabbing. What do? Okay. Because this is a huge topic. Okay. So GLP-1, because it's a hormone that plays a crucial role in regulating blood sugar. It stimulates insulin secretion. Okay. It inhibits glucagon, which is something that raises blood sugar. It slows gastric emptying. So it actually delays stomach from emptying into the small intestine, which helps the appetite regulation. It promotes weight loss by reducing blood sugar levels and suppressing appetite. So that's what the hormone, the natural hormone that we build, is doing. Okay. And so one of the things that we have to look at is if we're taking a synthetic version of something in a hormone, is that something that we really want to do? Because if your body is that intelligent, we've learned this with a couple of the different things out there. One that I'll use as a natural thing, melatonin. Melatonin for years was some ways to people would, have the ability to fall asleep. Well, our body produces melatonin, the hormone. So what was occurring was you almost had a addiction to it because the body stopped producing it because you were aiding it. So your body goes, oh, okay, I don't have to make that hormone anymore. So I'll just stop making melatonin. Right. And so melatonin has this ability to initiate sleep, but it doesn't keep you asleep. So what was happening was people were getting worse and worse sleep if they were trying to get off of the melatonin. You almost had to be on this melatonin for a really long time. Now, in the melatonin case, they are finding that melatonin might not be that bad for my older population if they do it in smaller chunks and not all the time. So like a lot of times melatonin, as long as you're not replacing the process, right? So if you're not replacing the body's ability to create that hormone, then maybe it's something you could take for a while. One of the problems with melatonin in kids, though, it replaces the way to produce that hormone. Okay. So with the GLP-1 situation, one of the things that's very concerning is because this will come out in 3 years from now, it won't be now, but when you take a synthetic anything hormone or that your body creates, that makes your body go, oh, you don't need this anymore. So what happens when you get off of it? We don't know that necessarily. So rumors are you gain all the weight back. Now you don't have the GLP-1 hormone getting produced. So now you don't know if you're full or hungry, right? Maybe things start happening, you regulate the blood sugar may not regulate correctly. So it's just something to be aware of, in this new health world. It's the thing that's the hot topic right now. So I just want people to be engaged when they see that, and they're like so excited of like the effectiveness of those kind of drugs. It's fine, but always know what you're looking at. Okay. So that's why I wanted to go back after that one, because that one's always a hot topic. So let's look at I'm going to go into what is some trends this week. All right. Let's go. Ooh, this one's good. PCOS. So polycystic ovary I don't think it's PCOS, but I want to say polycystic ovary disease. There's a huge link between gut health and polycystic ovary syndrome. Sorry. So this is when there's multiple cysts that kind of build up over time in the ovaries. But the good news is, because this gut health situation is there, maybe there's some good holistic ways that you can actually attack that. So PCOS is very debilitating for people. Let me go to it. So polycystic ovary is a common hormonal disorder among women at reproductive age, characterized by several symptoms: irregular or absent menstrual periods, excess androgen, which is higher level of a male hormone, which can result in physical signs like excess hair growth, acne, that kind of thing. Polycystic ovaries that become enlarged and contain multiple small collection of fluid follicles and eggs that are not released. Okay. So that's what polycystic ovary syndrome is. Oh, I screwed this up. All right, hang on. Gotta go back. Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Yeah. All right. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Go back, dude. I was doing so well, too. All right. Let's do this again. I really kind of like this. I'm trying to get some good health information, because there's so many ways that people get information nowadays. And I just want to see, I'm trying to find a way to like consolidate it all so we can see that. So that one's an interesting one. Just remember that if you know somebody maybe with polycystic ovary syndrome, maybe a gut bacteria, getting their gut microbiome corrected could be a huge deal for that person, suffering with that condition. Instead of, a lot of medications don't really do a lot of justice for that. All right. Air quality. Because of the California fires that are occurring, we're going to have some air quality issues, guys. As big as that stuff is, we have to understand how all that goes. So just remember air filters, quality of air, indoor air, maybe changing your filters more often than you would be. Those are kind of things that I would think about, as these California fires rage. It really does happen where it'll blow across different areas. We'll have different kind of weird weather. That weather eventually, you're going to get it even as far away as like us in Michigan are. That could be a big deal for all of us here. So making sure that happens. Let's see. Here's another one. Oh, this is a big one, because they figured out a good way to get into our homes. Okay, so gambling addiction. So gambling addiction is a very big concern right now, because now everybody has an app, right? So we have an app on our phone, and you have to understand something. So the intelligence of our body is amazing, but others have studied this body. Others have studied it very closely and understand how essentially the human brain works on addiction. Okay. So it's not going to be very long if it's not already happened, where these apps on our phone will be like going into a casino. So a casino is geared specifically for the addictive personality. They turn on the lights so it looks all the time the same. You can never tell what time it is. There's no clocks anywhere. Even the air is like really fresh, like you're going in it. If let's say it's 10 o'clock at night, they have all the science down to make sure you don't have a clue what time it is based on, like looking out a window or anything like that. So you don't get tired. If you've ever been to a casino, you understand that. As soon as you walk in, it's like, that you don't know what time it is. So you're trying to look at something, as we go. There is a science to that, people. They hire high-end people that have just done that. So what concerns me a lot is there's going to be apps out there that you can really do a lot of damage to your own financial health, based on, getting just this app on your phone and you're thinking you're playing, Candy Crush when you're losing $20 a hand. Okay. So just remember that, because that's a big health problem, is that type of thing, the addiction to that. It's no different than a kid playing a video game. We just have to remember and how much that does physiologically. So if you'd ever noticed, I've told this story a few times. They took a kid, put a heart monitor on, and had him play, I think, I don't want to name the game. It's like a military style game. Very, very well done. Very intense. When they had that heart monitor on that kid, it was going at the same rate as if he sprinted a 400-meter dash, and he was just sitting in a chair. The reason that happens is because of the excitement and the real lifeness of it. And your body is intelligently trying to run from bullets flying, even though it's on a computer screen. Okay. What does that do to our physiology? What does that do to our brain health? Right. So the intelligence of our body will respond. A lot of times it'll respond in, heart problems in a young age. It can respond as, you see it, like a kid might not have as much strength because it's trying to pack it, or there'd be a little like overweight based on, I want to pack on these pounds because it looks like we're going to die. So I want to make sure I keep every calorie we ever get. Right. So that could be an interesting thing. So just remember those things on the gambling addiction. It's no different than a video game. And most of my older adults will get caught in that. And so don't get mad at kids when you're just as bad on that phone. So just remember, give yourself some time. Make sure you're understanding what you're getting into, because it could cause a lot of headaches that way. Let's see. So that's about it for this week in this health trend. I like doing that a little bit just to see what's out there. All right. Ooh, wait a minute. Okay, no, we're good. Okay, so we're good there. Now we're going to move to the cool stuff. All right, actually, I got to go to my first, see if there's anything in the news. All right. Ooh, here's a good one. You'll see this on packages of food. So let's read on it. All you need to know about xanthan gum. Xanthan gum. XAN. You've probably seen it, but you have no idea what it does. Okay. So here's a little description of it. This will be good. This is a medical article written by Zon Villines. This will be pretty good. Xanthan gum is a food thickener. It is an ingredient in a wide variety of foods, as well as products such as toothpaste. Though it may offer some health benefits, primary uses include changing the texture of food. The xanthan gum is a polysaccharide, which is a type of sugar that is made from a bacteria called Xanthomosis campestris through a process of fermentation. This bacteria infects a wide range of cruciferous plants such as cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, causing diseases such as black rot and bacterial wilt. Manufacturers make xanthan gum by pulling bacteria from many plants. The finished product does not contain any viable bacteria, so there's no real risk of xanthan gum causing infections. That's interesting. Some research suggests that xanthan gum can improve health maybe in the following ways: lowering or stabilizing blood sugar. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Possibly reducing cholesterol. Saliva substitute, treating dry mouth. Okay. Possibly as laxative, making it easier to swallow. Huh. This is interesting. So, role in gluten-free food. For celiac disease, let's read this one. For people with celiac and gluten sensitivity, foods containing gluten can cause intense stomach pain, diarrhea, and upset stomach. Flour and other ingredients and many baked goods contain gluten. Gluten-free products rely on substitutes that can make them resemble the texture, crumb, and flexibility of gluten-containing bread. That's where the xanthan gum thickens the food and binds the moisture, potentially improving the properties of gluten-free baked goods. Now, there are some health risks to this. So xanthan gum may not be necessarily all that's cracked up to be either. Here's a good one. This is part of the article. I'm not going to read the whole article to you guys. According to a 2019 study about the xanthan gum diet with rats, the polysaccharide can trigger pro-inflammatory responses in cells that help control inflammation, increasing cancer risks. Okay. So it's safe, but is it good for you? Not necessarily. That's what I'm getting from this article. There's might be some little things, but a lot of those are not proven to be good for you. In gluten intolerant people, sometimes this is something they use as an alternative, but it doesn't look like there's too many health benefits to doing that. So if you can avoid it, that would be good. All right. So here's some people that should probably kind of avoid that. The xanthan gum situation. It's people with a history of diarrhea or intense GI pain, history with incontinence, people with allergies, which is kind of hilarious that they'd have it for gluten intolerance. People who are severely allergic to cruciferous plants such as broccoli, cabbage, or kale, because it's made from those. But usually xanthan gum is used for two primary purposes: a thickening agent, like in toothpaste or those kind of things, and what they call an emulsifier. This is its ability to bind means it can prevent products from separating. And that's why it's in a lot of oil-based salad dressings and cosmetics. So interesting. Xanthan gum. I don't think it's an enemy, but maybe not so good for us all the time, right? So that could be a thing to watch out for, a thing to take look at, especially. Okay. So now we've done that. That was about the only article I saw this week that was kind of interesting. Now we'll get into the cool stuff, the holistic side. This is always my favorite go-to is Dr. Mercola's his library. So he's got a website that's fantastic. If you ever want some good information like pretty much daily, you can go here. And it's really, really cool. Now, I want to go through this article and then we'll probably leave it tonight that we could talk about. Because I want you guys to understand what mitochondrial energy production is all about. So what is a mitochondria and what that does, and when you hear it, because you're going to hear it a lot, like as we go forward, it's a part of the cell. Okay. It's what they call the bodybuilder, the energy builder of the power plant of the cell, if you will. Okay. So let's talk about that, because sometimes the mitochondria, you hear it all the time, but what does that mean? Okay. Because I catch myself telling patients about, oh, it gets the mitochondria going. Like if we have a cold laser, and that cold laser kind of stimulates those mitochondria to work a little quicker. Well, that's cool, but what the heck does that mean? Well, this is where it's the area where the body creates the energy, right? Or the cell creates the energy. So just like a car can't run without gas, your body can't function without cellular energy. Yet doctors often treat symptoms while missing the real problem. And this article is from Dr. Mercola. An energy efficient and oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, doctors often treat symptoms while missing the problem. An energy deficiency at a cellular level. Your cells have tiny powerhouses called mitochondria that produce 90% of the body's energy through a process called oxidative phosphorylation. It's just the way it's a chemical process that creates the energy. And it's in these little mitochondrial cells. The mitochondria also regulate calcium levels, cell death, and metabolic processes. ATP, which is sometimes you guys have heard of that's the energy chemical, is your body's energy currency. It's made up of sugar, nitrogen, and 3 phosphates. Your body makes its weight in ATP daily to power everything from muscle movements to brain signals. So it makes a lot of ATP through these mitochondria. Okay. So that's big deal. Mitochondrial dysfunction and resulting energy deficits are linked to numerous diseases, including diabetes, cancer, neurodegenerative conditions, autoimmune disorders, and cardiovascular. So what they mean is the cells, the little mitochondrial pieces to the cell have dysfunctional problems. And when those dysfunctional problems happen, all of that list can be some of the major issues. Instead of treating just treating symptoms, modern medicine needs to focus on restoring cellular energy production. This will revolutionize on how we manage diseases by tapping into the body's natural healing ability. I wanted to stop here on this article because it makes sense. Okay, so what if we know that your mitochondria are not working properly? What does that tell us as an innate person? We know innately that the innate intelligence of our body is not getting the energy it needs, right? Remember, the triune of life is energy, intelligence, and matter. So they all have to be working. Well, if your energy sources in your mitochondria are off, the intelligence and matter are going to have a struggle communicating with the rest of the body and what to do. So this getting down to this level could be a game changer in figuring out the why of a lot of chronic conditions out there. So remember that as you're studying and doing these things and seeing what these different supplements and what these processes, all these different cool, holistic methodologies are, make sure that we're like, okay, could it help our mitochondria? I know chiropractic adjustments absolutely do, but so does eating right, eating certain supplements. There's tons of stuff out there. Okay, so let's keep on with this article. A diseased body is like a car that has run out of gas. The engine might be intact, the tires perfectly turn and are inflated, and the body's free of dents. But without fuel, the car won't move. Similarly, the human body cannot function without energy. All right. Unfortunately, modern medicine often resembles a mechanic diligently fixing flat tires or replacing spark plugs in a car that's simply out of fuel. No amount of tinkering will get it moving if the real issue is not addressed. And so that's why we can't look at surface level symptoms, and we have to look at root causes of the diseases. So that is very true. All right. So let's see if there's anything else in this article. All right. Okay. So basically, it just gets into the meat and potatoes of how mitochondria build the ATP or that energy chemical that's similar or that happens within the mitochondria. So here's some other things that the mitochondria do. Calcium homeostasis. This is kind of big. If you go back to my vertigo talk, you'll understand why calcium's such a big role. This could be a connector in why people are having vertigo so bad. Vertigo has a potential that the calcium channel, there's calcium that's like extra calcium floating around in the body. The only reason calcium would ever be extra is that what they call homeostasis, the perfect balance. Your body has not figured out and regulated that perfect balance of calcium. So a lot of times mitochondrial function is the key to helping make sure the calcium stays at the exact level you need. Okay. That's an interesting one. And then it just does a lot. The mitochondria does a ton in keeping the cell healthy with a lot of different regulations that way. All right. I just don't want to read you the whole article. But one of the things we can end our tonight with, though, is the idea that, and the big key idea is that if you're in this article, if your mitochondria are functioning properly, you will age less, or you will age at the appropriate balance, right? So we want to go down to that cellular level when we're talking about, fixing things, all those cells, because that is where the intelligence of our body is located. The true innate intelligence is within each cell. Okay. So just remember that as we go, and then maybe look into, and maybe we'll do a whole show on just mitochondrial supplementation, like seeing what's the best for this, this kind of situation. So there's tons. I would say just make sure you got a multivitamin that'll start. You know what I mean? So, and if you go back and watch the vertigo, you'll see what I'm talking about with the calcium. The calcium is a big deal, and they're finding more and more that is one of their causes, is this overloading of your blood with calcium. And that calcium, because a lot of people think they got to take it for everything, but if it's off because your mitochondria don't know how to regulate it in your blood, then we got issues, right? So I thought that was a pretty good one to end on. Let me see if there's anything crazy out there that I want to do. Hopefully you guys will like this more and more. And I'm going to try to, this is a good one just to understand. This one's a really quick one, though. If you know somebody breastfeeding, so breastfeeding and pumping, all those kind of things, remembering that your baby may need extra stuff, making sure there's like extra supplementation, those kind of things, if there's medications involved. So if mom has to take a bunch of medications, one of the things is to really, really monitor and understand, making sure that nutrition is really good for like little babies. Sometimes making sure, like through a liquid multivitamin, making sure mom is taking a bunch of liquid multivitamins, a lot of these things just to make sure that baby has what it needs can be a very big thing, because we forget, like, breastfeeding is phenomenal. I should do a whole thing on breastfeeding. Breastfeeding by itself is this amazing process, because the mom and the baby are connected energetically, consciously, all these things, also physiologically. So it's literally, the breast milk will tell if the baby has a head cold, the mom will produce the antibodies for that exact head cold. That's how crazy that stuff is. So when we medicate, sometimes we need to make sure that we understand that that's going to pass on through the child, right? Or reduce your take on the child. So those are the kind of things that you want to watch for. Okay. So tonight I try to keep it short. It wasn't too bad. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I hope I get better and better at this. I really enjoy trying to find the articles because it's really cool to see what people are trending about. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, as the year goes, we'll find more and more of those. So, anyway, all right, guys, we'll see you. Well, Sunday. Remember, Sunday. Well, no, Sunday this week is the Super Bowl, so we will be not having a thing, or not having 1% Tribe, but we'll probably have Wednesday night. So enjoy it. We're going to try to hit 6:30 every time, and we'll see how that goes. And sometimes recording, sometimes not. All right. Have a great one. Take it easy.